Welcome back, you crazy gun nuts. Today I want to talk about breaking a pin and weld. A while back I bought a complete upper from PSA. It was a 14.5. It had the FN chrome line barrel on it. So they consider their premium barrel, and had a pin and weld A2 muzzle flash hider on it. And after having it for a while and running it just as a rifle, I was like, I would really like to put a can on that setup. So I got the Dremel tool out, and I did not film that, but I will tell you exactly what I did to get that pin and weld off. And just for reference, this is the rifle, this is the can that I put on it, and it's a 14.5. And yes, you ATF guys, I did put a brace on it. But when you buy the pin and weld from PSA, the pin is drilled through the bottom of the barrel, and you can see here is the A2 flash hider. You see a little bit better there. I did put the pin back in it just for reference. You can see about how deep it goes in there, and it's not threaded or drilled very far into the barrel. One thing I don't like that PSA did is they pinned and welded it and put a crush washer on it, which I would never do a pin and weld with a crush washer just because things get hot and things move. But I did take the hand guard off before I started this, so I didn't do any damage to the hand guard, and luckily I did not have any slip-ups with the Dremel, and I did not mar up the barreling at all. But here it is with the flash hider and the crush washer. You see that I did get into the crush washer a little bit, which isn't that big of a deal. There, you can see it a lot better now. And this should give you a pretty good view of how far that goes in there. Now we're going to pretend that this is the Dremel cutter. I did take the Dremel and go all the way around it, around that pin and weld where that weld was. And I tried really hard not to get into the pin itself, and I did actually a pretty good job. It came out the very first time. So like I said, I just ground away the weld from the surface and got down into it pretty good. As you can see, I took quite a bit of metal out of there. I had the upper in a vise, and I put a pair of pliers on it. And for the love of God, use a good pair of pliers. These are Irwin's, I believe. I used just needing those vise grips. I was able to get that right onto the pin itself. And I was spinning it. It had some tension as I was spinning it, and I thought maybe it was slipping around the pin. So I got a flashlight out and looked at it, and it was, in fact, spinning the pin inside of the flash hider. So I know I'd broken it loose. Since this was in the vise, I just took a hammer and just tapped upwards and was able to tap that pin out of the into the flash hider, and then just put a wrench on it and turn the flash hider off. I didn't have to run a tap on the threads. The threads were still really good. I was able to put the can on there all the way. There was no tension where the hole was at, so I feel pretty lucky there, because I know a lot of times you do these, you end up having to run a tap, or run a die over the barrel threads to clean them back up. But as I said, I got really lucky with this. It took me longer to set up the upper in the vise and get the tools out than it did to actually cut it and get the pin out. I probably have maybe 4 or 5 minutes of, careful grinding to get this out. I know other pin and welds are different. They don't go straight down like this one did. They go at an angle. I've never tried to get one of those out, so I don't really know what to say about those. But as far as the PSA pin and welds, they're really, really easy to get off. And if you got any more questions about this, feel free to ask me. I think I used like an 1.25 or 1.5 inch disc. It wasn't real big. And I used a slower speed. That way it didn't kick around on me as I was grinding, because a lot of times when you are grinding like that, it'll pull out of your hand. So I used a slower speed and just took a little bit of time to do it. Like I said, 4 or 5 minutes of grinding, and we were good to go. But if you got anything out of this video, give me a like and a subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching. Stay safe, and let's take back our Second Amendment.